Hey everybody, Chris here. In this video, I'm going to be discussing why I went with a school bus and why I think it should be a consideration for you as well. So just to give you a little bit of a background, I've actually lived in two different camper vans, a Class A motorhome, and this school bus. So that does leave out, fifth wheel travel trailers or traditional tiny homes. But for my lifestyle, I like to travel full time, be able to bounce around, go to different locations. And also the main thing I do on the road is actually stay on BLM, public land, go out to a spot, stay for 2 weeks to a month and just kind of chill, stay for free, explore the local areas, go hiking and do all the outdoor activities. Now, if that is something that you are considering, if that is something that is part of your tiny home journey, I highly suggest a school bus conversion for a couple of reasons. Number one, for me, it was the ability to carry a lot of weight. And it's not necessarily a lot of my stuff, but it's the building materials of a school bus that you can put into it, because this bus has a 36,000 pound weight capacity. Basically what that does is allow me to use the best building materials. So for example, all my countertops are 1.5 inch butcher block. All of my building materials and the wall and the flooring is all 3/4 inch plywood. I'm also able to have a bunch of food storage. This area right here has a 5 cubic foot chest freezer underneath here. I have a residential fridge. And then also I have 200 gallons of fresh water. And again, that goes back into the lifestyle of going out to one particular location, parking my bus and being set up and good to go for a long amount of time. I mean, if I really had to, I could probably go to Costco, stock up, fill up my 200 gallons of fresh water, and I could go out to an area and park for 2 or 3 months without having to move the bus. Also, with the length of the bus, this is a 40-foot bus. I have a roof deck on my bus, but I also have 1,700 watts of solar, and then I have 900 amp hours of lithium batteries as well. So just the weight capacity and the size of this bus allows me to achieve my goals. Also, another aspect of why I went with a school bus, why I enjoy having a school bus, is the drivetrain. So I was able to purchase this bus for $3,000. It has the Cummins 8.3 engine and it has the Allison 3060 transmission. That is just an absolute monster drivetrain. If you get a good drivetrain from an auction or a school bus dealer, you're basically able to be set. The maintenance is a little bit more expensive. If something happens to it, it's a bit more expensive. For example, my pressure pump on this particular rig is a CAPS system. To replace that cap system, and that's just a component outside of the engine, a new one is around $3,500, right? So it can be fairly expensive to maintain these and keep these going. But, as I was doing research on this particular bus, that cap system was replaced in 2013. This is a 2002 bus. So theoretically, I still have a decent amount of time left on that cap system. And also this bus had 120,000 miles when I purchased it. And with diesel engines, for those that don't know, diesel engines seem to hold up a lot better, especially over time in terms of mileage. Also, just the exterior structure of this rig is phenomenal. So these buses are built to transport children safely. Obviously, I did a roof raise on mine. You can see how, the ceiling of mine is a bit taller. I did a 21-inch roof raise on this particular bus. And, that's pros and cons of a school bus as well. If you are taller or if you want the extra storage, a roof raise is something you can do. It usually costs anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 to do the roof raise. But overall, if you're investing into the lifestyle and you're wanting to do it for a decent amount of time, the school bus, whether it be roof raise or non-roof raise, it is a very viable option. You might notice that a lot of families do the school bus life. It's very easy to build bunks into your configuration, especially if you have 40 foot. Typically the parents' rooms are at the back, and right in front of that, you can put in 4 bunks very easily, and you can do it on a budget. And again, you can put those good building materials in there where you don't have to worry about it. And I keep mentioning the better building materials. That's because in my Class A, it was a great rig for what it was, but two things with getting Class A motorhomes is typically they try and get those in and out of the factory as quickly as possible. That frame comes in, they have builders building it as quickly as possible, and they want to get it out into the marketplace and get it sold. And then any issues that RV has, The service department deals with that later. Like there's a section in this course, What to Know Before You Buy a New RV, goes into detail on some of the issues that people have with brand new RVs. And for me, when I had the Class A, I stopped by the manufacturer. They allowed you to park your rig outside, and I used to spend my summers up in Alaska every summer. So that was a stop where I could fill up water, hook up to electricity, and just kind of hang out a couple days before I crossed the border. And I met a couple that bought a $450,000 RV, and there were so many issues with that brand new $450,000 RV that the manufacturer was just giving them a brand new rig. It was, then they were sitting out in the parking lot for about 6 months waiting to get everything fixed. Now that's an extreme example, of course, but anybody that's bought a new RV, anybody that you talk to, there's that basically factory break-in period where there's going to be tons of issues with that particular vehicle. You're kind of rolling the dice with that RV, and they don't really use that good of material. One, it's cheaper, but two, the weight capacity on those Class A motorhomes isn't great. So they're not able to use 3 or 3/4 inch plywood. They're not able to use butcher block. Basically, you know, a lot of the walls are just particle board. And as you're going down the road, you know, when I first started driving that Class A, it felt like the actual rectangle structure of the Class A was swaying back and forth. And it's meant to have a little bit of give. Where with this bus, you know, it does have air ride, so it does have an air ride suspension. But as you're going down the road, it just feels very solid. You know, I feel like I'm in a solid piece of machinery, way, way better than that Class A. So it's pretty obvious that I am partial to a school bus, being that I'm living in one now. But I've been living on the road for over 10 years now. Like I said, 2 camper vans, a Class A motorhome, and now this school bus. Overall, from the people that we film on the Tiny Home Tours channel, the people that I talk to, the pros and cons, I mean, the only real con with the school bus for me is I'm not able to really park it in parking lots, but I do have a tow car. And being that you're able to tow a vehicle, you know, it's an extra expense, and you got to get the tow kit and find a vehicle that's able to be towed and all that. But just with the overall lifestyle of being able to park this, you know, out in BLM public land, and then take the tow car into town to the grocery store and get everything done, this is the best setup that I personally see out there. And I really enjoy it. Granted, like I said, you can't necessarily take this to a Costco and park it in the parking lot. Typically, you know, it's kind of hard to get that figured out. But with a tow car, it is way worth it. And I highly suggest looking into a school bus as a viable option for your tiny home.